insufficient to achieve a clear-cut goal. I don't think NATO went into this knowing what success for it looked like or what success for Ukraine looked like. The way that the conflict came about meant that success for Putin was relatively easy to fudge because he would have captured some of Ukraine, albeit his initial invasion plans failed miserably and lamentably. Success for Ukraine is so much harder to define in a positive way and achieve because they had already been forced to surrender so much of their territory in the east, in the Donbass region, from 2014 onwards, and had a rolling conflict there for all that time up until 2022. And so, but the fact that it's hard to define and hard to achieve doesn't excuse the lack of a coherent plan against which people could gauge success and ramp up resources and commitment as required. And so it's been drifting. It's been hindered by Mr. Biden's reticence. That's now been compounded by Mr. Trump's complete lack of concern for the future of Ukraine. So I think NATO's performance has been, frankly, better than some people might have expected from the early days in 2022, but actually not sufficient to do much more than keep Ukrainians in the fight, unable really to make the sort of breakthrough they need. And we can track, you'll remember, Nick, you'll have had many of people on your program talking about this. Mm-hmm. Every time there was an escalation in the sort of weaponry that was going to be provided by the West to the Ukrainian forces, it was delayed, it was insufficient, the rules of engagement were kept on a very tight rein and so on. We didn't give them an unfettered opportunity to maximize their chances at the time when the Russians really were reeling from the initial pushback from the Ukrainians. So I think it's been a very disappointing effort. And I don't really see how, if we switch now to what happens next, and not NATO, but NATO nations and the coalition of the willing idea for the ceasefire, that without significant American underpinning, I don't see this coalition of the willing really being man enough to enforce the sort of mandate that might come out of the ceasefire.